What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the vlog. We are going to be back at Morongo for this one. It's day 2 and we are ready to battle. If you guys want to see the last vlog at Morongo, click here and we are going to get right into the video. Let's go. Welcome back, everybody. We are in the beautiful state of Texas and we are back at Poker House Dallas. We're going to hop into the 1-2 game for $500 per usual, and let's get started with the first hand. The first hand, we look down at 9-8 of hearts in the small blind. My buddy Funky Poker raises it up to $30. Now, you guys should go check out his channel. He makes some pretty epic poker content. The link is going to be in my description, but we're going to focus on the now. I'm in the small blind with a suited connector. Usually, you guys know what that means. I'm going to be 3-betting, so I make it $140 to go. I like 3-betting these suited connectors like 9-8 suited, 10-9 suited. Those also mix well, obviously, with the very top of your range. It gives you board coverage, so when the board comes all low, you know that some of your range is going to have a little bit of something on the 8-6-5 board. So I 3-bet up to $140, and the action is over to Funky. He is in the tank. He likes to be aggressive. We played countless amount of hands against each other. He knows that I'm capable of 3-betting light, and that's probably what causes him to 4-bet jam here. He goes all in, and I'm sitting with 9 high. Definitely not going to be stacking off. I muck my cards, an unsuccessful bluff to start the game, but we're going to move on right to the next hand. We are now in the hijack with ace-5 of hearts. There's a $5 button straddle and 1 limp. I raise it up to $25, and once again, we get called by our buddy Funky in the small blind. So, we're going to go heads up in position to a flop, which is jack 8-4 with 2 clubs and a heart. We flop ace high with a couple of backdoor draws to go along. When he checks it over to me, I definitely want to see a turn card with this hand. Any 5, 6, 7, heart, ace, 5. Those are all going to be really good cards for me. So I want to see a turn card. I check it back, and sure enough, the turn is the ace of spades. We improve to top pair. Always love to see it, but what I'm not expecting is him to lead out into me, and it's really small. It's for $10. Not really sure what this means, but if I had a bluff, I'd probably want to raise this card a lot. So when I have top pair, probably want to do the same. So that's what I do. I raise it up to $30. And like I would expect, he pretty quickly puts in the call. Not really sure what kind of hand he's trying to represent here, but I'm pretty sure we have the best of it. The river comes to 8 of hearts. Obviously, now we lose to an 8, improving to trips, but I'm not too scared. So when he checks it over to me, I'm not too sure what kind of bet to go for here. He probably has a jack or a 4 or just like king high or something like that. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting for him. I don't really think he's going to pay us off very big with a jack, so I like to go under 10% the size of the pot for $10. I know, pretty weak, but, you know, it'll probably get paid off. I'm not sure what he has, but I put out the $10 bet. He pretty quickly puts in the call. He probably would do this with every hand just to see what I have. I show him the ace, and he says we're good. He mucks his cards, and we will never know what he had, but I'm happy I squeaked a little $10 value out of him on the river there. We're going to move on to the next one, where we look down at the beautiful, the marvelous, the magnificent pocket kings. We have $500 in our stack, and we are in the small blind. The middle position player raises it up to $13. A little bit of an odd number, but there's one caller over to me. We're on the small blind, and we are going to be 3-betting. I think I could even go bigger, but in-game I decided on a size of $55. And to my surprise, the big blind wakes up with it. He 4-bets to $110. It's basically a min 4-bet here, but that's pretty common when you're facing 4-bets. It's usually 2x to 3x, somewhere in between there. But when it folds back over to me, I have a decision to make here. Obviously, I'm going to be putting in more money. I don't want to be cold calling this hand out of position. He only put $110 in, so I could maybe click him back to like $220. Or I could go all in for my $500, and I think that's probably the best play. Obviously, when he puts in a 4-bet here, he's repping a hand like jacks, queens, ace, king, and aces. Hopefully, that's not the case, but we're going to stick our money in there. We go all in for $500, and the small blind goes into the tank here. That's not really what we love to see. Obviously, we don't want to get snap called because then we're probably against aces, but we're hoping he puts in a call with pocket jacks, pocket queens, or something like that. Maybe ace, king, but in the end, he decides to fold pocket tens face up, so we don't get max value, but I didn't expect pocket tens to call off there. I'm pretty surprised at 4-bet, to be completely honest with you, I guess, but maybe he's seen me be a pretty active player, and he definitely wanted to punish one of my 3-bets. Makes total sense to me. Now we're going to move on to the button straddle here. So at Poker House Dallas, you have the option to put $5 on the button as a straddle, but you get ultimate last action, so everybody at the table acts before you. So I put on the $5, and the low jack player raises to $10. My brother Gordy to my right, we brought him this trip, and he's ready to crush the tables. He 3-bets up to $35, and the small blind player calls, and the low jack player calls. Now, I get ultimate last action, and I look down at jack 10 offsuit, closing the action. Only $30 more to call when there's 4 other players. There's already a ton in the middle. And Jack 10 is going to play pretty well. There's 4 straights you can make, and all of them would be the nuts, assuming there's no flush or board pair. So it seems like a pretty good hand to close the action with, so that's what I do. And we're going to go off to a flop, which is 8, 7, 6 with 2 spades. We just flop a gutter ball to the nuts. Obviously, we don't have any spades in our hand. The action now checks to Gordy, the original raiser, and he bets out for $60. Now, I defended the straddle, meaning I'm probably going to have more of this board than anybody else. I'll probably have 7-6 suited, 8-6 suited, maybe even like 8-7 off, getting that good of a price pre-flop. And I still have all the straights. I would probably defend 9-5 suited, 10-9, 5-4. So this board seems like it's going to hit us very well. Gordy being the 3-better, he's obviously going to have quite a few overpairs, but he can still have a hand like pocket 7s and pocket 8s. But I probably have way more of this than he does. So I decided to get a little bit cheeky. This is probably a little bit out of line with no spades in my hand and no backdoor clubs. Just a gut shot and 2 overcards, but I really think we could put a lot of hands in a tough spot here, and obviously on the turn we'd probably have to barrel. So that's what I do. I raise it up to $165, and he actually folds back around to Gordy. I'm just praying for him to let his cards go, and if he calls, just praying for the 9 of hearts on the turn. We can suck out on him and maybe win a huge one here. But in the end, he decides to go all in, which is a little bit interesting. Obviously, with Jack high, I'm not going to be stacking off. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what kind of hands he'd probably want to do this with. I guess it would make sense if he had a hand like pocket 9s, pocket 10s, kind of just wants to deny equity and get it in. He has a little bit of a straight draw as well to go along. So it makes sense if he does a hand like that, but it seems like he might even be behind some of the time. So I'm a little bit confused. I guess his overpairs just want to jam, but sitting with Jack high, no spade, we are not going to be calling here. And afterwards, we asked him what he had, and he said 10-8 of clubs. Wow. Did not expect that. Mixing in those suited gappers in the 3-bet range, that's what I like to see, but he made a nice play, made a nice read. We've played with each other our entire lives, so he probably knows a little bit of how I play. I probably got to get a table change here soon.
Real quickly, guys, if you're looking for a place to play online poker, and I know some of you are, click the link in my description. It's called Club GG. You can play on your phone, your computer, your tablet, anywhere in the world, anytime. 24/7 cash games and tournaments, all stakes. So I hope I see you there. I play on there all the time. It's super fun. The action is bananas. So I hope I see you there.
On to the next hand, we look down at Jack 9 offsuit in the cutoff. There's a $5 button straddle, and we're going to get in there. We're going to get a little frisky. We raise it up to $20, and we get called by the small blind, the big blind, and the button. All 3 players to our left want to come along, so we're going to a flop, which is Queen Jack 4 Rainbow. We flop middle pair with a backdoor straight draw. The action is going to quickly check around on this flop. I'm not going to c-bet into 3 other players. We have a hand that probably just wants to get to showdown and maybe 1 street of value. So I check around. The turn card is the deuce of clubs, and the action checks to me again. Now, I think we could put out a little value / protection bet. We want to get called by King 10, King 9, 10 9, 10 8, flush draws, all that stuff. Maybe some low pocket pairs, who knows. So I put out a little feeler bet of $30, and we only get called by the button. The river card now is the 9 of spades, and the action starts on me. We improved to 2 pair, but it's a little bit weird because I'm not too sure what we get called by. And he's on the button. He's probably going to bet a queen on the flop. I don't really expect him to check back top pair too often, so he probably doesn't have that. The 9 is a little bit scary because King 10 improves, but I think the majority of his range is going to be missed draws. So I decided to go for a little bit of a blocker sizing, around 10% of the pot. I obviously prefer to do this when out of position. I know earlier in the game when I had ace-5, I did it while I was in position. That was kind of just messing around, and I didn't really know what he had. But this time, I think he's going to have a lot of garbage that could maybe turn his hand into a bluff, and we could snap it off. So I put out a little blocker bet of $15, and he puts in the call. We show him 2 pair, and we're going to win this against King 9 of diamonds. So we squeaked out a little bit of value there against 3rd pair. Not too mad about it, and we're going to scoop in a $173 pot. Not really any crazy hands to go over so far, but that's about to change. We look down at Ace-King offsuit as a $5 button straddle. I raised it up to $20, and we get 1 caller. And there's a player in middle position now who 3-bets. But let me tell you, this is not your average 3-bet because he 3-bets to $220. Welcome to Texas, everybody. This is just how it goes down here, I guess. And the action gets back to me. I have Ace-King offsuit. I got $450 in my stack. That's all going to be going in the middle. I'm not going to be folding my cards from a big 3-bet. So I put it in, all in, folds around to middle position. Don't expect him to fold, and he doesn't. He shows us pocket queens, and we're going to go off to a run out. The flop comes 6-6-5 rainbow. No help to our ace-king. We have no backdoor draws. Turn card, deuce of diamonds. We're going to need to hit an ace or a king on the river, but that doesn't come. It's the 10 of clubs.
we're going to lose a big flip here, but we're going to rebuy and get back into the battlefield. The player on the button said that she folded ace-king as well. So, wow. Pretty good fold from her. She had a few of my outs. The session hasn't gone too smoothly, but like I mentioned, we're adding on, and we're going to get back into it. We are on the button straddle now with 10-7 of spades. There's one limper, and Funky now raises it up to $40. A pretty big ISO raise, but that's how we do it here in Texas. The small blind puts in the call, and I'm going to close the action here with 10-7 suited. Sounds like a good idea to me. In position on both players, let's do it. I put in the call, and we're going to a 10-high flop, which is pretty good. 10-5 deuce with 2 diamonds. The small blind checks, and Caper now puts out a continuation bet of $50. Obviously, with top pair, I'm not really going to be going anywhere, so I put in the call. But to my surprise, the small blind comes along as well. So we're still going to be 3 ways to a turn. Hoping to fade some board connecting diamond high card hands. Basically every card in the deck. But the turn card is one of those. It's the queen of diamonds. Pretty terrible for us, so we'll probably just give up on this hand. But the action's going to check around on the turn, so we get to see a free river card, which is always good. The river card now is the queen of clubs. The small blind surprisingly leads out into the field, and it's a pretty big bet. It's $150, only leaving 40 behind in his stack, which is a little bit strange. And Capron goes into the tank here, but ends on a fold, so the action is on me. I have a pair of 10s. Obviously, the flush came in on the turn. That's basically the only hand he's repping, unless he has a hand like pocket 5s or pocket deuces. I don't think he ever has a queen in his range unless it's queen 10, and I have a 10 in my hand, making that pretty unlikely. Pocket 5s and pocket deuces would probably check raise the flop, so basically the only hand is a flush. When he overcalls the flop, it's definitely going to be a lot of flush draws, but I feel like here in Texas, people just call super wide if they have like ace high with the ace of diamonds. I feel like people would call pocket 9s and pocket 8s as well. So for some reason, maybe it's the fact that he left $40 behind. I don't know why. I just don't believe this guy. So I stick in the call, and he says that we are good and shows us the ace king with no diamond. So he floated the flop with the dirty ace king and just turned it into a bluff on the river. We picked it off. We finally won a decent-sized pot here, making a nice call on the river, and we're going to move on. We are in the big blind with the Cowboys, hoping to keep this going. Pocket kings. We have 800 in our stack, and we're looking to get that all into the middle. There's a few limps, and the cutoff raises it up to $25. And the button player puts in the call, and now I'm in the big blind with pocket kings. Definitely going to be 3-betting here. I decide on a sizing of $110. I could even go bigger sometimes, but the cutoff puts in all of his chips. It's $175. And now the action is on the button. Not really expecting to get too much action from him when he just calls, but apparently I know nothing because he goes all in for $650. I snap call, and he says that's not good. So we know we're ahead. We probably have them crushed, and we are going off to a run out. This pot is massive. It's over $1,600, and we're going to a flop, which is 9-7-5 with 2 clubs. Seems pretty safe to me. Hopefully they don't have a set or something like that. But the turn card is the king of hearts, and I say that's me. I got it. We're pretty unlikely to be beat here. I don't think they're going to have 8-6. The river card, 6 of hearts, and I hear the words straight. He shows us pocket 8s. Hit the straight on the river. We had him absolutely crushed, and we're going to lose an over $1,600 pot. Wow, that one stings. Holy smokes. That's a little bit tilting, I'm not going to lie, especially with the king on the turn. Obviously, his 8 outs were dead, so he could only hit 4 6s. And he did, and that's how it goes, man. I don't know what to tell you. This ain't no pony show. This is just the facts. We lost, and we're going to move on. Pretty tilted after that one, but that doesn't stop me from playing more poker, because that's why we came here. So if I lose a hand, what am I going to do? Just give up? That's not how it works. But I do get a table change, get away from those guys. They were giving me the bad juju, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I moved tables, and I buy them for $500, and we immediately look down at ace-queen here. There's 4 limps over to me, so I raise it up to $30. Definitely should be going pretty big here, and I think 30 is not enough. But we get 3 callers, so we're going to go to a flop, which is ace-9-4 with 2 clubs. The action is going to check over to me, and I'm definitely going to bet my top pair here. There's a ton of hands I could get value from, so I put out a bet of $60. And luckily, we thinned down the field to just heads up, getting called by the button. So, heads up to a turn, which is the 5 of clubs. Don't really love to see it. Obviously, the front door flush draw comes in. He's going to have a lot of king-queen of clubs, king-10 of clubs, stuff like that. So I start with a check, and he puts out a bet of $50. That being said, he definitely has some flushes, but I don't think I can be folding top pair here. He can still have plenty of bluffs and even going for value with a hand like ace-10 or ace-jack with the jack or 10 of clubs. So, we're going to stick in the call and see what the river brings in. The river card is the Jack of Diamonds. Another not great card because now we lose to Ace Jack. When I check it over to him, he puts out a bet of $105. And now we're in a spot here where we just have one pair. Do we want to call it off? It seems like an older gentleman, but it seems like he might be pulling a bluff here. Maybe the way he looks, the way he's sitting. Also, something that I've noticed is whenever you bet the flop as the pre-flop raiser, and then you check the turn to the other player, it seems like they're going to start bluffing a lot like you missed the flop. And that might be the case here. You bluff the turn, and now he feels like he has to bluff the river. Obviously, we lose to some flushes, some two pairs, but I don't know, man. I'm just getting the feeling that we have the best hand here. So I put in the call. He shows us pocket queens. A little interesting there, but we're going to win this pot with top pair. He turned 2 queens into a bluff, not 3-betting pre-flop, but pretty happy we stuck in the call there. We finally won a decent-sized pot here. Bouncing back after that pocket king's hand, we're going to move on to another premium hand. 4 deuce offsuit on the button straddle. There's 4 limps. I'm going to check my option, and we're going to a flop. All right, it's 5-4 deuce with 2 diamonds. There's not too many good flops for this hand, but this is definitely going to be one of them. We flop bottom 2 pair, and the big blind leads out for $12. There's one caller in between before the action gets to me, and I am going to be raising here. In game, I decided on a size of $45. I think I should be going way bigger. There's a countless amount of straight draws, flush draws, pairs, over pairs, stuff like that we could get value from. I think I should be going like $75 here. Bottom 2 pair, basically every turn card is not going to be a good one for us. So we want to charge the maximum now. We only get one call, and that's from the big blind. So we're heads up in position to a turn card, which is the Queen of Hearts. Seems pretty safe to me. It puts another flush draw on board. So when he checks it over to me, we're going to put out a nice size bet here. Make it $105 here on the turn. It's about half pot, but he decides on it pretty quickly to make the call. The river card now is the 6 of spades, bringing in a one-liner to the straight. Any 3 is going to have a straight. Obviously not great. It could be possible he has a hand like 3x of diamonds. It could be 3 deuce, 3 queen of diamonds, anything like that, to be honest with you. So when he lead jams for 250 here, I kind of get the feeling that we're beat. He also could have a hand like 8-7 of diamonds, which would be the nuts. It's also possible that he could be shoving a better 2 pair or a set here for value. And I wouldn't be too surprised, but we have the worst 2 pair on the board, so we're just bluff catching here. I don't think he's going to have that many just stone bluffs. Obviously, he could have some missed flush draws. If that's the case, then we're probably going to have the best hand, but that's basically the only thing we beat. So I decide on a fold here, just kind of going with my read, and he shows us the Queen of Diamonds. Pretty interesting card to see there, because obviously you could have like Queen Jack of Diamonds, but that really wouldn't make too much sense to jam on the river. I'm not sure why you would turn that hand into a bluff, so the more I think about it, the more I think you probably had like Queen Deuce of Diamonds, Queen 6 of Diamonds, or Queen 3 of Diamonds, or Pocket Queens, who knows. We saw that guy just call Pocket Queens earlier, so definitely could have just limped him. But we're going to move on to the next hand. Obviously, a pretty bad run out. Hopefully, we can get it back here in the last few hands of the video. We have 650 in our stack, and we look down Ace Deuce of Diamonds. We're in early position, and there's one limp. You could go raising or folding here. You guys know me. I'm going to raise it up to $20. And the player on my left, Brad, he 3-bets to $65. Now, the action gets back over to me, and you guys know how I like to go for a little 4-bet here, a little 4-bet there. And my favorite hands to do it with are the suited aces, ace deuce suited, ace 5 suited, ace 4. So that's what we are going to do. Obviously getting pretty out of line, maybe a little bit of a tilt factor going in here, but we are going to put him to the test. I put in the 4-bet to $200. My heart's beating, not really because I do this all the time, but we're going to see what Brad decides to do. And sure enough, he goes all in. So this is the not fun part about 4-bet bluffing, because you got to make that embarrassing fold, you know? Just sucks, man. But that's what we have to do. Brad later told us that he had aces. So, yeah, I don't blame him for going all in, obviously. Probably shouldn't do a 4-bet into aces next time. We're all learning here. We're going to move on to the last hand of the night. Obviously, the session hasn't gone too well so far. We have $450 in our stack, and we're in for, I don't even remember. I think it's like $1,800 or something. We have 7-6 suited on the button, and the cutoff raises to $15. Being stuck about $1,200 isn't going to stop me from 3-betting my suited connectors. So I put in a 3-bet to $45. The cutoff sticks in the call, so we're going to go heads up here. I'm ready to battle. Hopefully we can get it all back, even though he only has $300 in his stack. We're going to figure it out, and the flop comes Queen 5-7 with 2 spades and a diamond. We flop middle pair with a backdoor straight draw. He checks it over to me like I would expect him to, and I'm going to put out a C-bet here of $30. There's a lot of hands we could get value from even sitting with middle pair. If we check, we're going to give hands like King Jack, King 10, 10-9, all free cards to the turn, and they definitely have plenty of equity, and we want to fold out a few of those while still getting value. So I put out $30, and he puts in the call. We're going to go to a turn, which is the Ace of Diamonds. Obviously, don't love to see it, but it's pretty good for my range.
I don't know if I necessarily need to turn my hand into a bluff. I could maybe generate some folds from like pocket 8s, pocket 9s, pocket 10s. Those hands have us beat, but when he checks it over to me, I think going to a river card is probably the best option here. I definitely still have some hands I want to check this turn card, like if I had a hand like king, queen, jack, pocket kings, pocket jack. All those hands I probably just want to get to a cheap showdown. So that's what I do. I go for a check. This will also induce a few bluffs on the river if it's a brick, and that's what it is. It's the 3 of clubs, and now the cutoff bet's out for $75, and I think you guys know where this is going. There's 2 missed flush draws, a few missed straight draws, and I'm sitting with third pair, and I'm a little bit tilted, all right? But I want to win this pot, and I really think he's bluffing. He could have a hand like king jack of spades, king 10 of spades, 10 9 of spades. There literally is endless amount of bluffs. He would even float the flop with like king jack of diamonds, in my opinion. So there's definitely a countless amount of bluffs you can have here. That being said, we are going to stick in the money here. We're going to put in the chips. I put in the call. He says, good call, and shows us the king 10 of spades. We show him we called him with third pair, and he says, nice call. And we're going to win the last pot of the night. Always feels pretty good. And let's head to the cage. We were into that game for a total of $1,850, and we were out for $575. That's a loss of $1,275. Appreciate you guys watching. It was a tough session, but we are ready to bounce back. We're going to be in Dallas for about a week and a half more, and that's where these videos are coming from. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Click that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.